Hi, this is Karin from the Huntley Library. Today we're going to be making fresh ginger syrup from ginger root. These are the ingredients you're going to need to make our fresh ginger syrup. First of all, 2 cups of chopped peeled fresh ginger, 1 1/2 cups of sugar, and 4 cups of water. Optionally, if you're going to use your syrup right away to make fresh ginger ale, you'll want to have some chilled seltzer water and also a lime slice or 2. So gather your ingredients and we'll head over to the counter to start getting these ready. Step 1, we're going to peel and chop the ginger. So here's all of the ginger that I have. And the first thing you want to do is to peel this skin off that's all over it. It's kind of thick and tough and it'll be hard to get the juices and the flavor out of the ginger if you leave all of that skin on, or if you just left it in this large piece. So what I'm going to do is use my vegetable peeler, which looks like this, to get the skin off, and then you just place this on the side of the ginger and shave it off away from you. And these vegetable peelers work pretty well to get the skin off fast. If you want to make less of a mess, then I'm probably going to make, and a bowl is not large enough to catch all of these pieces of skin. You could do this over the sink, and then if you have a garbage disposal in your sink, you can often have it grind up the pieces of skin, or you can just wipe them out of the skin, or wipe them out of the sink really quickly and easily, and they won't go flying all over your kitchen or your floor. Something other people who use the kitchen will probably appreciate. If you have some weird branches on your ginger like this and they're getting in the way of removing the skin, you can break them off or use a knife to cut them off so that you can reach those hard to reach areas. And this doesn't have to be totally perfect. You're not making like a centerpiece or carving a sculpture out of your ginger. You just want to get most of that skin off. So that's the process for removing the skin, and I'm going to pause and let you guys do that, and once we're back we'll chop up all of the ginger. Alright, all of my ginger is peeled, so now I'm going to get ready to chop it. So I'll move some of this off to the side so it's not in the way. I'm going to start with this piece. And you don't have to chop this real tiny, you just need a rough chop. So I'm going to do little cubes to give us a lot of surface area for our ginger to come in contact with the water and the sugar. Some of these pieces a little bit smaller. I'm not practicing incredible knife skills here. You'll have to watch Gordon Ramsay for that sort of thing. If you have your pot already set out, like so, you can put your chopped pieces of ginger directly into the pot in preparation for our next steps. Try and keep your fingers out from underneath the knife. You can do that by setting your nails down and chopping near your knuckles of your hand. Don't lose any phalanges in this recipe. The first time that I had freshly made ginger ale was at a restaurant called Stir Crazy, and then later I found out that Big Bowl also made their ginger ale fresh from a syrup that they made in-house from fresh ginger. And since I'm a big fan of ginger ale, I tried to come up with a recipe for making my own ginger syrup. One of the variations that I found for this recipe was that you can add some lemon peel while you're making the syrup, and they recommend 3 pieces of lemon peel that are about 4 inches in length and just the yellow part, or the zest part, would go into your ginger sugar water mixture when you're boiling it, and then you'll remove all of that and just have the syrup left over. So if you like some lemon zest in your ginger syrup or your fresh ginger ale, you could do that too. I don't have any lemon right now, so I'm going to just add some lime juice later on when I actually put the ginger syrup, when I actually use the ginger syrup after it's done. So I'll wait for my citrus until then. So this is a lot of ginger that's going into it, and you might ask yourself, what can I do with this ginger after I'm done with it? After you've boiled it, it's slightly sweet. It's not quite crystallized ginger, but if you like ginger a lot, you can save it for up to a couple of weeks in your refrigerator and just eat the individual pieces, or add them to tea or iced tea. Since they are slightly sweet, they'll give that a nice flavor too. If you're not a huge fan of ginger, and you don't have a way to reuse it, you can add it to your compost heap too, and then it will give something back to your garden. Okay, we're all set. We'll move on to step 2. Okay, we're on to step 2. We are going to add 4 cups of water to the peeled and chopped ginger, and then put that whole pot over on the stove and bring it to a boil over high heat. You can then reduce the heat a little bit and then let it boil gently for 10 minutes uncovered. So I've got my water already measured out in this pitcher. That's 4 cups, and I'm just going to add that to my ginger before I place this over on the heat. My stove heats up really fast, and I don't want to accidentally burn my ginger before we even get started. Okay, so we're ready to move that over to the stove. Follow me to the stove, which is just over here. We made it. Okay, and then you just want to light your stove. I'll bring that heat down just a little bit, and then adjust the placement of my pot so that it's centered over that. And then you just want to wait until this comes to like a roiling boil where you can see the water really moving around in there. And at that point you would start timing your 10 minutes of gentle boiling, and you might also want to adjust your heat on the stove too. So we'll wait for that to come up to a boil, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's a nice roiling boil, and then we'll let it simmer for a while. This is what our nice vigorous boil looks like. We're going to get some steam on the camera while I show you. So I'm going to start my timer now for 10 minutes, and then when that goes off I will add the sugar. That will be our next step. My 10-minute timer just went off, so we're going to move on to step 3, which is where we stir in 1.5 cups of sugar and then continue boiling the mixture. So I measured out our 1.5 cups of sugar here, and we're just going to turn to our boiling mixture and add that in. That may reduce your boil for a little while. And then you just want to take a spoon and stir that up a little bit until your sugar is dissolved. And it might be hard to tell if your sugar's completely dissolved because the ginger's in the way. But you can hear like the grains scraping across the bottom of the pot, or I could hear them before, and you can kind of feel it too with the spoon, and I'm not feeling as much of that anymore, so I think my sugar is pretty well dissolved. So I'm going to take my spoon out and then just let it get back to a boil. And you want this mixture to reduce to sort of a syrupy state, and that's going to be about 3 cups of the liquid. So reduce it to about 3 cups of liquid, which you might have trouble telling too from from just looking. So about 15 more minutes on the stove for this mixture, and then we can take it off. Alright, so I'll give you guys time to do that, and then we'll meet back in a little while. Alright, welcome back. 15 minutes later, my timer just went off, so I'm removing my syrup from the heat. I turned off the stove, and now I'm going to pour it through this strainer into a bowl. This will just strain out any of the ginger chunks or any other debris that is in there right now. And then we're going to cool that for at least an hour if you want to try it right away. But you can also store it in the fridge for up to a week. So if you want to just put it into another container after it's a little cooler, you can do that. I'm actually going to transfer a lot of my syrup to this empty ocean spray bottle after it's cooled off a little bit so I don't melt this. So we'll take it off the heat here. Here we are back on the stove. Woo. And I'm just going to bring this over to my bowl and my strainer and pour it in. If you're worried about making a mess, you could do this over the sink, and then there'll be less chance of you spilling your syrup all over your counter or your floor or yourself. I think I got all the syrup out. There might be a few chunks of ginger left over. Remember, you can reuse your ginger for other things, or you can add it to your compost heap and feed your garden. Okay, so we'll remove the ginger pieces. You can actually let them sit in this strainer over the syrup for a little while, and then any liquid that's still clinging to them will drain down into your syrup. So I'm going to put that back over there and just let it drain out a little bit longer. And then once this is a little cooler, so maybe about an hour from now, we will come back and I'll show you how to mix up your fresh ginger ale. Welcome back. We are on to step 5. We've completed our fresh ginger syrup, and now we're going to make some fresh ginger ale out of that. So you're going to want to get a glass ready, and then some seltzer water. This is my ginger syrup, which I transferred into another container so I could chill it a little bit more quickly. And then I have some freshly sliced limes too that I'm going to add some lime juice to my creation here. Okay, first step, we have to get a 1/4 cup of our ginger syrup. So here's my 1/4 cup measure. Here's my ginger syrup. Okay. Pour that into our glass. Okay, and then we need a cup full of our seltzer water. This was also chilled, so this should be nice and refreshing on a hot day. Very fizzy. Okay, and that should mix it right up. And then I'm going to add a lime slice, juice from one of these, because I like a little lime juice in my fresh ginger ale. And if you want it to get every little bit of that lime juice in there, you can drop it into your drink too. Okay. So that's our combination. Once you try it, you might want to add more of the syrup, more of the ginger syrup, or more lime juice, or more seltzer water, or perhaps it's not sweet enough and you want to add a little bit more sugar. That's up to you, so I'll let you taste it first and see what you think, and then you can add what you want. Otherwise, we are finished and we can enjoy this now. I got my proportions right, so this was perfect. Thank you for joining me today making our fresh ginger syrup and ginger ale.
For more fun ideas that you can try out, check out our website, www.huntleylibrary.org.